Come on, Sammy.
You know what?
Yeah! Let's go, baby!
Gizmo and Big E and the DNVR Hockey in the Rockies from Ball Arena.
So yeah, this version of the Avs is the one we all believed in to be a cup contender this year.
What's up, guys? Gizmo for a DNVR Insta update.
Big E's 3 keys against the Washington Capitals tonight at Ball Arena.
Friends of the show, friends of mine for a long time, the voices and faces of the Altitude Colorado Avalanche broadcast.
Nate McKinnon will tell you that about his team, and Corner will tell you that about the Oilers. You got to have good players around you to get those kind of nominations.
What was it like seeing the banner up in the rafters for the first time of Pierre and sort of the homage that's being paid to him?
Well, certainly well-deserved.
I don't think anybody comes close to Cale Makar. Somewhere, somehow, he's a unicorn. There's nobody else like him.
He also had 2 other critical assists in this game. He's just different.
Lehkonen injected something in that lineup right away.
He's a freaking good hockey player.
Whether it's Mai Tais or mocktails, this is the DNVR Avalanche pregame show.
Indeed it is. It's the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by our wonderful friends at the amazing Coors Light. We have Coors Light. You can have that. You can drink that.
I know. It's got 2 cups.
Yeah, you got 2 things going on all at once.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Gizmo, Big E, Rudo, of course, Tiff, working everything behind the scenes for us. Glad to have you along. It's the pregame show as the road trip carries on for the Colorado Avalanche. They are in Raleigh taking on the Hurricanes tonight, who are very good at home. 9-3, I believe, this season. However, the losers in their last 3 games. Huge comeback victory and a massive momentum swing for the Colorado Avalanche. They find themselves down 4-rip after just 20 minutes of hockey. Enter Scott Wedgwood. Hopefully stay Scott Wedgwood because he pitched a shutout for about 48 minutes and really looked like he was into it and was having fun with the game. We're going to talk about all of that and more. Let's begin with just a quick injury update note. That lineup will not change, but we'll get to that in just a second after we look at this. Still week to week for Shillington. Manson still on that IR. No real time frame exactly on that wrist injury. Could be a long time, could be short. Wood was downgraded to month. Drouin still week to week. We know what the rest is. The big news today, Colton, the other day was skating in red. Today, skating in white, not in the lineup tonight. That does bring us to the lineup. Why don't we just start there? And that way you all have the most up-to-date info ahead of time. And then we'll get to all the other fun stuff. Not much changing here. And not a big surprise that it will be Mr. Wedgwood starting in net tonight.
Yeah, if you're being honest about it, you didn't really have a choice after last game. You had to start him again, and hopefully he continues to perform well. Carolina is not Buffalo. You're going to have to show up and play well tonight if you want the Avs to be successful, particularly your goaltender. Should be an opportunity that the Avs have someone who I don't want to say is better, but Carolina has had trouble with injuries in goal themselves, as they often do. So maybe you can find a little bit of a sliver of an edge there.
Yeah, I agree. And then maybe don't go down 4-rip, right? You know what I mean? That's usually not a good recipe, you know what I mean? But hey.
It's not good, Bob.
But the Avalanche, they can do it. I love it. Never out of it. Never out of it. Officer Wedgwood said it, you know, that you guys are never out of it. You know, that's the beauty of looking from the outside of this team. And then maybe a little, you know, again, I'm not putting pressure on KC. We talked about it post-game. Maybe a little bit of a little bit of a better offensive outcome for Casey tonight would be awesome. And,
I think some pressure should be on him.
Oh, no, yeah, perfect. All right, I didn't want to use the word, but you know what I'm saying. Like I
watched
think,
every other forward on the team pop off the other night.
Yeah.
You're on a 7-game pointless streak.
Again, on the bottom 6 there, we saw, Kivy, he scored. And then, was it LLC?
Yeah,
Who else scored?
it was LLC.
Yeah, so nice to see some help there. You're going to make a historic comeback. You need help from the bottom of the lineup, and that just usually makes things way easier. Let the big fellas always what? The cream always rises to the top.
Always, buddy. Always. The good players will show up when they need to, and you're going to need a big effort tonight. I think you have the momentum. You certainly do. They clearly played very well in front of Wedgwood. Let's focus in on that for just a second, because I think what the biggest difference was, other than the fact that he obviously came up with some big saves, but man, he just looked like he was happy to be there. There was energy, there was excitement, there was a swagger, there was the jam, there was the jump. I mean, you could just tell like he was like, we're winning this game. Like I could just feel it.
To be honest with you, it was much less Wedgie's mentality as it was the team in front of him's mentality. You can see this team drift into panic mode in front of Georgiev almost every single night. And with Wedgie back there, he makes the first couple of saves and the Avs go, okay, we're good. Let's go play some hockey.
Yeah.
And I'll one more up to that, because you're bang on what you're saying, and then I'll use Casey again. Come into the Avalanche playing behind Nathan McKinnon. It's like Christmas came early, right? You heard Wedgwood. You want to be a goaltender for the Colorado Avalanche. Are you kidding me? Because you know you're going to get goal support.
I was pumped.
You know you're going to get an unbelievable decor in front of you. So I think as a 33-year-old journeyman, I think he sees the opportunity in front of him. I'm not telling you he's the answer is the number one. I'm saying he's the answer today for today's game. Perfect.
Yes.
And to uplift that team, to give them a lift where it's been a little bit shaky. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to how he reacts to a 0-0 game. Always easier to play a game when it's 4-0. I tell you guys that all the time. Yep. And then, again, all right, we'll put the pressure on Casey, our guy Casey. We like Casey. But let's put some pressure on him tonight. Let's go.
I think Casey needs to feel it. I give him a smidge of a pass because of the Buffalo thing, but now tonight you got to show up.
Yep.
Right.
Like everybody else is pulling their weight. You gotta show up tonight. You're good enough. Let's go. Like, come on now.
And make no mistake, Carolina is a deep team at forward. They have a lot of. They don't have the true super high end talent like the McKinnons of the world, but if you look at their top 9, there's a good player.
It's a good lineup.
You need Casey to go punch for punch with those guys.
Mm-hmm. You go see those lineups when you see the jerseys, on that website. It's kind of nice because it's like that's what you see when you're in the locker room. That's what you're looking at. You're like, okay, that's a good test tonight. That's a good lineup. Carolina's a good hockey team.
Yep.
Carolina is a good hockey team. They are on, as we said, a losing streak. So you've got an animal that's backed into the corner a little bit. That definitely worries me. The fact that they're good at home worries me. The fact that, do I think this could potentially be a late spring, early summer preview? Yes.
And again, I'm going to say it. I said it last year, Rudo. You'll remember it. I'm going to say it again tonight. I don't like that arena. I know I heard it's loud. I know I played there. Great. Awesome. I don't like that arena because the visiting room towels smell like fish. And that's why I told you last year, and I'm telling you again. And I don't know why. You get stuck. Like we're all stupid as hockey players, and we all remember like dumb things. I remember going in there, and the freaking towels were short. They were small, and I was a lot smaller back then. And they stunk like it was just like gross. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's why I hated that building. So still, that's my memory of the playing on the road against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Towels too small.
But I'm old, actually. We used to play in a different building that was like 45 minutes away before they played in that building. The first couple years of their existence, I swear, I don't remember where it was. It was like somewhere.
It was in Hartford, buddy.
No, well, I played against the Hartford Whalers too. The brass bonanza, buddy.
I want to go back to the size of the towels being inadequate.
They were. And I was a lot smaller.
Must be nice. Must be nice, buddy.
But again, that's my little quirk with that rink. I'm just being honest.
Never met a towel too small for me, Rudo.
We can't all be born that gifted. I don't know what to tell you.
You were using the actual bath towels, not the hand towels, right? Like, they come in sizes and all right. Okay. Yeah. There's like 3 of them. Like the washcloth was for the face. That's the tiny square.
Gotcha.
And the hand towel a little bigger than the body ones. Are,
and then the beach towels.
And then the
that I
beach
need
towel.
now.
Yeah, no, not at all. In addition to good smelling towels, let's have a listen to what he came up with for his 3 keys earlier today.
Yeah, but you know what? No, we're doing it live because me and Tim.
that's right,
must be nice.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
Hopped up on the coffee.
yeah.
I'm just making sure.
A little heavy cream on it.
We had a nice little setting though, a little Christmas setting.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Carry over the emotions. Key number 1, carry over the emotions. Obviously, the emotions weren't there in the first period besides the goaltending. Obviously when you're down 4-rip, the emotions are going to be down. But wow, was it beautiful to watch the second and third period. It was beautiful. It was a historic comeback. You got to have some swag. You are a good team. They believe they are a good team. I think the coaching staff believes that they have a good team in front of them. And you got to play with some confidence. So I think it's got to carry over from last game, which was absolutely fun to watch. Number 2, win the 5-on-5 battle. Carolina has lost 3 in a row. They're giving up goals as of late. They've given up 16 goals in the last 3 games. So play structured in all 3 zones. Don't try to cheat the game. Obviously, their goaltending's been suspect a little bit. Obviously, Anderson been hurt, and then I'm not even going to attempt to, me and Russian names, I struggle. Kochakov, and then he been in and out, and then obviously Spencer Martin, their third goalie has played a few games. I'm not blaming on goalies. I'm saying when you get shaky goaltending, kind of tough to win games. So that's key number 2. Key number 3, I think it's fun to watch that tonight. And I don't think a lot of people would have seen that tonight where the two of the, equality, whatever you want to call that, they're on the same
Point
number
totals,
1, tied for 1, right? Top of the league in scoring. And then, if you're Max, show him who's the boss. Power versus power. I think Natchez has been an unbelievable story. I think that a lot of pundits or people, I know that, for me, myself, I've been in love with him for many years. He's always left you wanting more. Right now, it'd be tough to ask him more. He's leading the league in scoring after 25 games. It's not like it's 4 games and he had a big hot streak in the week. He's been awesome. He's making guys around them better. And I got one little guy we can talk about after, Eric Robinson. I'm going to talk about him for a second later. My boy, Buddy's brother. Buddy Robinson's brother. But anyway, that's kind of fun to watch that tonight. Top versus top, and show the pupil who's right. Show the pupil who's right. Show him who's boss.
I think the Avs top guys are better. Don't get me wrong. I've always liked Martin Netjes, but I don't think he's this guy. Not that he isn't very good. Not that he isn't capable of being an elite player. I don't think he's a guy who leads the league in points at the end of the season. I think this is a wicked hot streak for him.
Yeah.
Whereas with McKinnon, you feel like this is probably pretty sustainable. Yeah. So I do think there is a little bit of a difference there, but...
Towels are flying right now. I'm telling you, there were little green towels that stunk. I'm telling you.
Well, and look, against a good team, a tiny towel, that's the margin for error for the Avs. That's what they have to work with. You cannot be making the key major mistakes that they have been at times.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into the goaltending conversation, but you win as a team and you lose as a team, which means there are things to fix everywhere. Mm-hmm. And a team like Carolina, if they go up 4-0 on you, the game is over. They are not Buffalo. They are not going to collapse. This team is too good for that. So you have to be able to play this team close, and you have to be able to close on this team.
That was your next point. Playing them close, very important. And I think what I was going to get to tie into that is that means starting this game on time.
Yep.
Like you better start the game in the pregame.
Let's call Joe.
Like get
the Bruins are starting on time right now.
Get Sacco.
The Bruins are starting on time right now. 6-2 with the Medford comment.
Maybe more people should just come to dinner with us because they elevate themselves.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Let's just
the Medford comment.
Let's just let's have.
So where are we getting dinner tonight?
Let's go get dinner tonight. Let's take Georgie to dinner when he gets back. Let's if he comes back. No.
But I just want
starting on time.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something too. Like for me, like I was using, again, this is not trade season yet. This is not, trade deadline season. But I just wanted to bring up Eric Robinson, for example.
Yeah.
And I know AJ likes him. Is it you or AJ?
AJ.
AJ really likes him. Hi, AJ. But I do too. What I'm trying to say here is you're talking about a replaceable player. All of a sudden he's in Columbus on a bad team, but he did pretty good. You know what I mean? Then he gets traded to Buffalo, and then he's not a good fit, and then he has a horrific year in a sense, right? And now you're in really good team in Carolina, and the guy's doing awesome. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? So what I'm trying to say is sometimes you can't just look at a guy and say, oh, he's washed up in Buffalo. It's a question of fit. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you go and acquire an asset, like I'm sure the Avalanche will before the trade deadline, sometimes it's an asset that's going down, because usually when an asset is going up like this, you're not going to get them. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is, whether it's a goalie, a defenseman, or a forward, sometimes when you put him in the right environment or you put him with the right people, they're a good fit and then they thrive. So just wanted to use that about, not that I'm friends with Eric Robinson, but want to give a little props to him. So pretty fun to watch.
I mean, I think it's interesting. AJ had interest in him.
Yep.
Was hoping the Avs would get him.
Yep.
I forget if it was last trade deadline or the one before or whatever. But
Last one.
it's funny where the type of players you look for if you're a team like Carolina, if you're a team like the Avs who play a high possession, play lots of offense, you're looking for guys that possess pucks well. You're looking for guys that make the pucks go in the correct direction for you. And it's interesting to see which players end up fitting in those systems and which ones maybe don't fit quite as well, because it's not necessarily always the most talented player. It's not necessarily the guy who you think might be very good with the puck. Sometimes it's a guy who makes the smart plays every single time. Sometimes it's the guy who maybe isn't the fastest skater but is strong on pucks, so he doesn't have a lot of turnovers. There's a lot of different ways to successfully fit into a system, but when you don't fit, it usually stands out.
It's funny, like even compared to like Matt Nieto, for example, right? All of a sudden he'd come to the Avs, good fit, go somewhere else, Avs bring it back, oh, good fit, go somewhere else, You know what I mean? Like, and that's why it's kind of fun to watch guys like that. It's not, again, my third point was Natchez versus McKinnon, which is nice stars, but it's also fun to watch little like mid-tier guys, lower tier guys, you know what I mean? Just to see how they fit on good teams. Pretty wild. It's pretty fun to watch.
And I like the rivalry between those two, to be quite honest. Not that there is a rivalry, but I think that they're not idiots. They're going to look and they know they're tight, and there's a little bit of pride there. So I think you see a big game from 2-9. I think he comes out and fires the puck a lot, and we know that when he does do that, good things happen. So
Shoot the puck.
Should be a big one. Shoot the puck tonight for sure. Take the leash off everybody and just give it a full send. He'll play 24 minutes tonight, and he'll be just fine. Especially with a back-to-back coming up even.
I think that's an important take, especially I don't think the Avs have done a good enough job this year knowing who you're facing in the other net. Yeah. You're facing a guy who's a backup. You're facing a guy who, when you see him, if he gives up one, maybe the Avalanche can start a little bit and he'll give up 2-3. Yep. So the Avs at times, especially like you said in first periods, start right against this guy and maybe you make your life a whole lot easier. You get to run away with this one a little bit instead of putting yourself in a slog. If you give up the first one, if you don't give up a lot of shots, or you don't get rather a lot of shots on goal, you put yourself in a much harder position to win. The Avs have to start making their lives easier this year.
This needs to be, should be, and I fully expect it to be all gas, no brakes to start this game.
And again, if you're Carolina, you're giving up 6-6-4 last three, right? What do you think you're talking about? Whoa, Avalanche are coming to town. Nate McKinnon. Makar, Rantanen. The list goes on, right? So what you want to do? Just back, So if you shoot pucks volume-wise, next thing you know, one of them's going to go in. Yeah. And if you go in, it's like, here we go again. What are we missing?
Were there more words or sounds in that description of this hockey?
But you know what I mean? We saw it. We feel it. We feel it with the Avs goaltending, right?
Yeah,
if it's shaky and you're watching the game, you're like, guys, we're throwing everything in the net. First 20 minutes, we're shooting from everywhere. It's the same thing now. Carolina's been a little bit suspect. I'm using words, not sounds.
No, it's great. I love your descriptors.
But be smart. Don't go out and have a first period because you know they're going to be like, Rod the Bod's going to be like, hey, everything tight, structured, no track meet with those guys. We are just taking our time. We get out of there 0-0 in the first. We feel good about our game. Then we attack, But again, if you're the Avalanche, you come out of there and you have 3 shots on net, you miss the assignment.
Yep. This is a bit of a roadie. I just want to kind of update that. We'll use this throughout the whole road trip here, but here's a look at sort of where they're at. A 5-4 win, obviously, against the Buffalo Sabres in dramatic historical fashion.
Typing 5-4W does not do that win justice.
throw in like an exclamation mark after the W, or like the starry-eyed emoji guy. This one in North Carolina, then you head straight to Detroit to take on the Red Wings, and then just a quick jump over to face the New Jersey Devils, and then a jaunt back down south. This map, we should have done an animation of the map of this trip. It's a weird one.
Yeah, it is not your normal East
It is
Coast
not
road.
your normal
Boy, I
East
hate that
Coast
3
trip.
and 4 to finish the back end of it.
It's tough.
There's my noise. Don't like that one. Guys, you saw the last 3 and 4. It was not good. The last game was not good.
Compartmentalize this. Take it one game at a time.
That's right.
Don't look at it as a 3 and a 4. Like, you just got to kind of,
None. Sorry, I'm reading.
you got to, I can't catch up. There's a lot of folks liking it tonight. Appreciate you.
Oh, I love it.
We'll tell him, B. We'll get you a Santa. Santa can get you a hat. You tell Santa to head on over and get hooked up on DNVR merchandise, too.
Yeah. Pretty good hat.
Get you something real nice.
I'm friends with Santa. He's my guy.
Yeah.
I went to school with him.
Yeah, sick. No
I'm
joke.
old.
How is he? Is he good these days?
Good dude.
Yeah. How's Rudolph?
I'm fine, thanks.
I was going to say, he's right next to you.
In addition to, we've talked a lot about, obviously, these guys starting fast. We've talked about Middlestat having to contribute. And we've talked about needing Wedgwood to do Wedgwood things like he did last game. If each of you had to identify one other major key factor here tonight, maybe something on the defensive side that you saw last game, if there anything at all. But what would you like to see?
Well, Rudo, you go first since you are a reindeer.
Oh, you're gonna make me go first, huh?
Yeah.
I'll lead
Once
the
you
way.
got our slate tonight?
got to think right now.
Look, if you're the Colorado Avalanche, I think you have a very simple thing to do, and that's trust it. Just trust it. You have not trusted it in front of Georgiev for the majority of the season. Wedgwood came in, allowed you guys to trust yourselves a little bit again. Trust yourselves from minute 0 on this one. Don't have a 5-minute sleeper effect.
Yeah, true.
Whether you're getting the saves or not. You just came back from down 4 goals. You can win against anyone on any given night. You have to believe in yourself to do that. And the Avs do eventually. You get into the second period and you see this team believe they can come back and win. Trust yourself from the start of the game. And guess what? You'll probably win.
I'm going to say the one to answer your question. My thing is, and just warning right now to the chat, to everyone listening, they will give scoring chances tonight. It does happen. It happens every game. And there will be some brutal mistakes. It's just the way it is. With that said, I'd like for the Avalanche to be a little bit tighter as a 5-man unit on the attacking side of things. And I'd like them to be a little tighter on the defensive side of things on a more consistent basis tonight, which kind of ties into your point there.
Yeah, everything ties in together, right? That's how it works. If you trust yourself, maybe you don't make that mistake to give up the 2-on-1, or maybe you make a better play with your stick to break up an opportunity defensively. On the offensive side, maybe you trust yourself to make that pass to set it up, or maybe really in the Avs case, you trust yourself more to shoot the puck than defer to somebody else is what you want to see more of.
And now by game 25, there's new guys, it's old guys, whatever it is. Now you're in there with some lineups, and even the Ivan Ivans of the world, like that. I've been there most of the year. I say it all the time. I'll say it again. This league is too good. It's too fast. If you start thinking out there, you're screwed. You're gonna be like, what are you talking about?
I can't think. Yeah,
You can't think. It's gotta come natural. You know what I mean? So whenever you're playing, you're thinking, and then you're doing it. It's not good. That step just makes you behind on the defensive side of things or the offensive side of things. But once you get used to it, now it's 25 games. There's no more excuse. You just got to go and snap it and go. You know what I mean? And you got to trust your instincts and you got to trust what you've been doing as a team there the last 25 games and just go. And if you can't, then you won't be in the league.
I guess I could be a hockey player, because I've never thought a day in my life.
That's my point. There you go.
The two systems a little bit different between Carolina and the Avalanche. Avalanche love that rush. Carolina a little bit more dump. Who does this favor tonight, given the current state of both teams? Does it matter? Rudo?
Look, if both teams bring their A game, I think it favors the Avs.
Yeah.
Carolina is much more high volume, low quality opportunities, and they have so much volume that it works for them. But the Avs have the ability to be a high volume team with players like McKinnon, but they also have the ability to strictly outskill you and quality opportunities over quantity if they need to. They haven't gotten enough of that this year, but when they're at their best, I would give the edge to the Avs.
And the Avalanche, I mean, I don't know how I say it, but you can't worry about the other team if you're the Avalanche, because when I say with their core, you should never be worried about the other team. You should always be going. You got to have the other team worry about you. And when you do that, and I think Bednar is awesome because he's not a guy stubborn with the matchups, and you know what I mean. He's not very. He always says it too. Like, I care just about whatever the flow of the game is. So I think it's very important, especially on the road, that you dictate the game and you go play your game. And does that favor you? Yeah, I would take the Avalanche decor against anybody else's decor in the league, and I would take the Avalanche because of the McKinnon factor, the Rantanen factor, the Natushkin factor. I said his name right. Factor, right?
Close
it's all
enough.
good, right? So yeah, I would say it favors the Avalanche.
Yeah, agree. It's also why I took the bets that I took. So.
Speaking of bets,
Pre-game picks, never ordinary from Bet365. I saw someone put it in the chat that Mikko Rantanen was popping off. I took some of that action. Took Mikko for 2 goals tonight at plus 850.
I did not see that.
And I also took the Avs to win. They're plus money. You just don't get Avs plus money that often, so I jump on that when I can. And unfortunately, as much as I just said the Avs should start right on this show, I'm taking the smart money and saying Carolina is going to score first at minus 135. So I got to hedge a little bit. I can't go all in on it. You got to at least make sure I've got some of my bets covered here. So whatever you're betting on, make sure you do it with Bet365. Use the DNVR 365 code to sign up today. You'll get $150 in bonus bets and 2 months of Altitude Plus on top of that, as Bet365 is now an official partner of the Colorado Avalanche and the Denver Nuggets. Of course, make sure you're 21 or older, physically located in Colorado, and if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today.
I didn't know about that. I took your advice just
Now, there you go.
Just threw a couple bucks on it.
McKinnon kind of popped off the other night. Mikko has been really good lately. It feels like it's a Mikko night to me. So
I love it.
If there's one guy on this team that can change the tide in moments, and if I think back to that game against Buffalo, obviously, yeah, we talked about Wedgwood. He played well. I'm sure Bednar had an inspiring push in the room, but if you had to single out maybe, from your opinion, from how you watched the game, was there anybody else, a sleeper guy, that maybe kind of sparked those guys a little bit, or did something that you didn't expect that maybe got the boys going a little bit more from your experience?
Well, I mean, I do believe the McKinnon goal, obviously. I know it's not a sleeper, but, that changes games around. When you let the big dog come alive, it's a little bit like, uh-oh, and then the other team's like, oh, crap. I do know that McKinnon did talk about what Bednar said after the first period, and I think it comes from experience, and I think as a group, especially when you've won together, if you've been crappy, they knew they were crappy on top of the goaltending not being good, and you're down 4 rip. There's nothing to clap about, but he's not the guy that's going to come in there and just kick the ball, the whatever it is, not Gatorade anymore because it's now body armor bottles and jugs, and it's just not his personality. And I think McKinnon said we respect that because he doesn't need to come in and tell us that because we know we were stinky. You know what I mean? And I think that when you go with that goal, and after that you have a guy like Kivi Ranta that had gone 197 games without a goal. I'm kidding, sarcasm. And then you know what I mean?
Like
all of a sudden
15.
it uplifts you a little bit, right? You know what I mean? Like it just kind of does, and it's like okay, here we go. So I think when you get help from the bottom of the lineup, I think the big boys say, "Oh, okay, thanks for the help. Let us take over."
I think you also need your top couple pairings of defense to be your top couple pairings of defense.
Yep.
Both sides of the puck.
The Avs are designed to get production out of your defense. They just are. It doesn't matter if it's Cale Makar. It doesn't matter if it's Calvin DeHaan. They got it from both sides against Buffalo. That helped them out. They're going to need it again tonight. Again, pick a name. One of their 60, 2 of their 60 have to get on the score sheet with regularity every single night.
Did
That's their
almost
makeup.
everybody
That's their
figure in
makeup.
on points defensively last game?
I think Malinsky didn't have a point, but just about everyone else did. I'd have to go back and check.
But that's their MO. I mean, that's the way they're made up, right? That's the way their Avalanche are built. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Exactly.
When they're humming, it's because their Ds are jumping in and collecting points.
Let me give you a hypothetical, and I'll leave it at that because we're getting close. I think they win tonight. I think Wedgwood plays good. I think he gets the start in the next game, but then you have a back-to-back. If he wins again and beats Detroit, do you start him against New Jersey?
Well, I mean, again, that's way too far, but yeah.
Bednar's never been afraid to run the same goalie on a back-to-back. I'll say that much.
Okay, is that because I'm just still learning Bednar's
It is a thing
tendencies.
he's willing to do if he feels like it's the right move. With that being said, as much as I want it to be the case, I just don't think this team can get itself away from Georgiev, whether it wants to or not. So I think we see Georgiev one of the next 3. I'll put it to you that way.
Wedgwood is the man tonight. Otherwise, the lineup stays the same. Unfortunately, no watch along because Nuggets happening at the exact same time as us. However, we will be hanging out at the DNVR bar down in the bar watching the game with you all. If you happen to be in the area of Colfax and York, come on by and hang out with us. We'll see you here. Make sure you're liking, following. If you're not a diehard, become one very quickly. Subscribe and like. Notifications are on. Otherwise, say your prayers, call your mom, make somebody's life better, and we will see you for the post-game show right after.
We all silly like the mayor.